I'm Russ Jaffe and have the pleasure and privilege of providing this webinar. I'm a physician, an internist, a biochemist, and a physiologist. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist. I'm a fellow of the National Academy for Clinical Biochemistry and an overseas fellow of the Royal Society of Medicine. I'm a fellow of the American Society for Clinical Pathology, of the American College of Nutrition, of the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, and of the American Medical Laboratory Immunologists. I am a research fellow and senior fellow of the Health Studies Collegium. I'm director of PERQUE and ELISA Act Biotechnologies, the sponsors of these webinars. Our topic, our subject, our overriding aspect of life is to rethink questions of health and well-being from the perspective of physiology rather than pathology. Now, for full disclosure, I'm a doubly board certified clinical pathologist. I believe that we pathologists have made great observational insights and contributions to the nomenclature and way in describing the state of illness of a person. But as I progressed in my medical work and research, it's become increasingly interesting to me to understand the causes, and what that means in a nutshell is to look at physiology first. What is lacking that's needed? What is excessive that's harmful? These are the kinds of questions that Physiology First allows us to ask, and in practical, in clinical, in everyday practice terms, the Alkaline Way is the expression. So the Physiology First is a philosophy and approach, physio having to do with the physical world, ology, the science of it, so the science of the living physical world, not the submolecular world, not the quantum world, but the physiological world. And the Alkaline Way is the clinical set of plans and practices, useful tests and self-assessments. Our subject in this part one is urine first morning pH, and we'll also look at another test that urine can be useful for, specific gravity, for early measures of kidney function loss. The second part of the webinars will deal with stool transit time and digestive competence and analysis. The third part of the webinar series will deal with hydration and stress hormones, particularly DHEA and cortisol and their relationships. And the fourth part of this four-part series will deal with physical evidence of vitamin needs and evidence-based confirmatory tests. So those are the four parts. We're on the first part tonight. The Alkaline Way approach, the Alkaline Way plan, has many benefits, and the Alkaline Way benefits include being proactive about repair, being anticipatory about wear and tear and dealing with it day by day, and helping to recover from cumulative repair deficits, also known as inflammation, when they are encountered. So the Alkaline Way has many benefits. These include proactive repair. These are antioxidant molecules. Mostly they work as a network, as a symphony, as a team. The antioxidant team is anti-inflammatory, which means pro-repair. It stops oxidative stress, and basically oxidative stress occurs when electrons are able to get free, become free radicals, and oxidize or damage or rust internally, by metaphor, delicate structures of the body. When you have enough antioxidants, when you have enough pro-repair molecules, such as from the colorful aspects of fruits and vegetables, then you do not have oxidative stress, and you have a better quality of well-being intrinsic to the cells and the systems that they compose. Now, PERQUE Integrative Health has an evidence base. One of them is a book, a small monograph on acid and alkaline by Herman Ihara. Herman Ihara is the founder of macrobiotics. He's better known in Japan. In the United States, the Kushis are better known for that same work. But the booklet Acid and Alkaline by Herman Ihara states, and we quote, "If conditions of our bodily fluids, especially blood, becomes acidic, our physical condition will manifest tiredness, proneness to catching colds, pain, suffering such as headaches, chest pain, stomach aches, etc." So there are many symptomatic expressions when the cells and systems become, and fluids around them become more acidic because of reasons we'll discuss during the webinar. Professor Enderlein said some years ago, the total healing of chronic illness only takes place when and if the blood is restored to a normal, slightly alkaline pH. The alkaline state allows the body to self-repair. One of the things I've learned over the many years is that nature heals and physicians reap the rewards. Now, hopefully the patients reap the rewards of better vitality, and the physicians are compensated for their experience and for their wisdom and for their compassion and for helping evoke that healing response. Now, when we talk about the alkaline way, we mean becoming what we eat, drink, think, and do. One of the most profound, simple statements: we are the result of the choices we have previously made about what we eat and drink, think, and do. And together, we can predict the future based on the choices we make today and tomorrow about what we eat and drink, what we think, and what we do. Now, metabolism produces net acid. So there are net acid producers, and these are the cells of our body. This is what metabolism contributes. This is the background necessity of metabolic life, that it produces an excess of protons, of acids. These can, if you have an antioxidant deficit, lead to oxidative stress. These can, if you have maldigestion and the presentation of digestive or other foreign antigens, lead to a loss of tolerance and immune reactions. There are biological buffers to deal with these acids. So there are biological buffers. There are 3 of them. There are only 3 of them. There are no others than these 3. Just to anticipate, you cannot fool the body with chemicals that are alkaline in the laboratory, but are not physiologic and therefore not physiological biological buffers. The 3 biological buffers are minerals. That means minerals like potassium and magnesium, but also calcium and sodium. Minerals like zinc and copper, minerals like molybdenum, manganese, chromium, vanadium, etc. Then MCT, medium-chain triglycerides. These are short and medium-chain fatty acids. These typically come from raw coconut, and these are buffers because they soak up acetate acid units. And then there are alkaline amino acids like lysine and glutamine, like arginine and asparagine. These contribute amines, these contribute alkaline elements. These are the 3 biological buffers. There are only 3 biological buffers. And if you want to counterbalance the physiologic production of metabolic acids with healthy nutritional buffer minerals so that you can function in the alkaline state, in a healthy alkaline state, because you are delivering from the outside enough of the buffering minerals, MCT, and alkaline amino acids. So you need the buffers, the biological buffers, you need the minerals, MCT, and alkaline amino acids to neutralize the excess metabolic acids, and you need as much buffers, as much minerals, MCT, and alkaline amino acids in the foods that you take in or in the supplements that you take in to deal with and restore the healthy alkaline state in the body. You are welcome to review this in any of our podcasts at www.perquasts.asp. That's www.perq.com/podcast.asp. Now, where do these biological acids come from? We know by maxim, we know from listening to the wise people that cells are acid by function. They produce more acid than buffer, yet they're alkaline by design. They're meant to be alkaline. They function better when they're alkaline. Where do these acids come from? Well, oxidative stress not only uses up antioxidants, but the xenotoxins, the metabolic waste, the distress that enhances oxidative stress causes imbalances in the cortisol DHEA hormones, causes imbalances in the adrenaline serotonin neurotransmitters or neurochemicals, and these contribute metabolic or stimulate the production of extra metabolic acids. Immune reactions, both the innate and acquired system. The innate system that relates to blood clotting and kinins and cytokines and prostaglandins. The acquired immune system that relates to complement reactive antibodies, not helpful neutralizing, but only the reactive bad antibodies, and T-cell direct immune responses without any antibody, T-cell responses. These all are metabolic sources of extra acid. The water that we drink, most tap water is acidic, and it's become more and more acidic over the last decades. It's mineral depleted because of the ways in which it's treated. So we want to have water that's hard, which means it has dissolved solids in it. We want more than 1 gram of dissolved solids, 1 gram or more of dissolved minerals, which are the dissolved solids in the water. We want a hard water to drink. You may want a soft water for your washing machine, but you want a hard water to drink. And all of the classic mineral waters, the Gerolsteiners and Apollinaриses and Pellegrinos and Volvics and so forth, are all high mineral, hard waters, and on their label will generally proudly tell you that they have more than 1 gram of dissolved solids per liter. And then the food choices we make can be either alkaline forming and contributing of buffers, or they can be acid contributing and difficult. Now, how do we get at this information? How do we simplify this for us and for those we love and for those we care for in practice? And this is where we come up with the first AM urine pH test, why it's important and what it is. Here we show you on the top, in the middle in green, the middle path, the healthy zone, healthy repair and restorative area. 6.5 to 7.5 is the urine pH you want to target for your first morning urine pH. And by first morning, I mean after 6 or more hours of rest. If the pH is below 6.5, it suggests extra acid, net acid excess, and you want to increase the alkaline-forming foods and supplements you take in to restore yourself to that healthy 6.5 to 7.5. And if it's been a long time accumulating net acid excess, it may be weeks or even months or even seasons of year before you refill all the many mineral needs in the body and then restore the blood pH appropriately, and thus the urine pH to 6.5 to 7.5 first in the morning after 6 hours of rest. On the bottom of this slide, you see the high color contrast papers to use. These have a range of 5.5 to 8.5. They range from sandy color to dark blue. You want to be in the green zone. You don't want to be too washed out and too sandy colored. You don't want to be too dark and too blue. You want to be in the 6.5 to 7.5 pH range first in the morning for your urine. The essence of this message is that acid-alkaline determines to a large extent health. The more acid, the more chronically sick and ill. The more alkaline reserves, the more minerals in the body. The healthier the body, the more resilient the body, and the healthier the structures, including the vasculature and the bones. Healthy venous pH is 7.32 to 7.42. Healthy arterial pH is 7.35 to 7.45. Notice how narrow is that healthy range. And the first morning urine pH should have a 6.5 to 7.5 range if you're healthy. That is the healthy target value or goal is a morning urine pH of 6.5 to 7.5. If you're below that, we want to take in more alkaline forming elements. And if you're above that, we want to deal with what appears to be catabolic illness. Here we have a complex nomogram, and in the middle of this diagram, you'll see an N, a small zone around it. That is the N for normal and healthy. In this case, N does stand for healthy range. This is Seagard-Anderson's Therapeutic Aspects of Acid-Based Disorders. Classic, he did 50 to 100,000 people, showing that healthy people have a very narrow range within which they conserve their carbon dioxide, their PCO2, and their acid state, either their protons or their pH. But there were big areas of metabolic acidosis and other areas of chronic respiratory acidosis or alkalosis, and so forth. Water is an important component. We want the water to be alkaline from minerals, here's Roger, but not alkaline from other reasons. We want a healthy pH, but not one that is stimulated by electrolytic process. We do not alkalinize the body with electrochemically made water. It is too caustic. You can't fool nature. We never suggest doing that. We do suggest, however, that keeping a healthy first morning urine pH is desirable. We can look at other fluids if they're healthy. So we use urine because it is straightforward. If you have a healthy mouth and no gingivitis and no gum problems, then saliva in theory can be used. But finding a healthy mouth is a very unusual event today. And so we prefer after 6 hours of rest to measure the urine values because the cells and the urine fluid have essentially equilibrated. You now have a measure of what's going on inside the cells without invading the cells, and we want to keep that in the 6.5 to 7.5 range. So the question is how to measure the first AM urine pH. First, we would take this pH test paper, the range 5.5 to 8.5, as I indicated. You can see a picture of this on the bottom of this slide. The second instruction is that we want to rest for 6 or more hours. You can get up and go to the bathroom during this time. Just don't be active. Go back to bed. Don't go in the kitchen and eat. Don't drink. But you can rest, including going to the bathroom for 6 or more hours. Then wet 2 to 3 inches of the strip, either by directly urinating on it or dipping the urine in the cup that you have freshly urinated into. The color should be sunshine yellow, indicating enough B vitamins, and we want you to have enough B vitamins to get a sunshine yellow look to the urine. We want to have the pH be in the blue-green zone, mostly green, showing that you have a 6.5 to 7.5 pH in the morning, and you have happy alkaline cells. What little bit of extra acid you have has been put into the urine, and the cells have been restored to their alkaline balance. You can see page 12 of The Joy of Food, the Alkaline Way Guide. This is available electronically or in print. We can provide this to you in bulk sales for resale to your clients. The Joy of Food, the Alkaline Way Guide, either electronically or physically available to help. One of the things that we recommend is a first AM urine pH daily log. This allows you to record the time as well as the date, the pH level, that is the value based on matching up the color with this little color comparison chart, and how you're feeling, say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being worst and 10 being best. So you can record on a daily basis, and people will typically notice that when they're more alkaline, they feel better. When they're more acidic, they feel worse. While that's a simple yet true statement, it is powerful when individuals discover for themselves the link between net acid excess, first morning urine pH, and how they feel and how they function. So you will have people who will often say, I notice I'm more optimistic, I'm more energetic throughout the day, I'm more able to concentrate when the urine is in the healthy 6.5 to 7.5 range. But on the days when I'm more acidic, I'm more pessimistic, I'm more prone to make mistakes, I'm more prone to see things as problems rather than opportunities. Interesting correlations between physiologic function, the alkaline way practice, and how we are in the world. Now, the Alkaline Way Guide includes on page 14 a chart. This is something we put together on food and chemical effects on acid-alkaline body chemical balance. What it really does is tell you how to select for the food that will be more alkaline forming. You may be aware that the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health and Human Services has issued a new guideline suggesting more fruits and vegetables, more grains, and some protein sources. We would refine that with the Alkaline Way. And we too agree that we want to look at a chart of how much the foods affect us, either contributing acid or contributing healthy buffering minerals and alkaline. We want to choose more of the foods that are alkaline forming, in this case on the left of the chart, rather than on the right, which are the acid forming foods. Common acid producing foods are grains, grasses, canned fruits, cranberries, sodas, legumes, dairy, fish, fowl, meats, and shellfish. Clinically, this is associated with acid reflux, GERD, arthritis, cancer, gastritis, gout, fat and cholesterol, blood lipid problems, cardiovascular risks, and more. If we look at our Alkaline Way plates, we want to have 80% of the volume that we're eating be alkaline forming. This would also conform to the highest recommendations of the new USDA HHS plating of our food. 80% of the foods we eat should be alkaline forming. The other 20%, the condiments, can be acid forming. When we're healthy, we still want to take in a slight excess of alkaline forming. About 60% of what we eat should be alkaline forming foods and 40% acid forming. The keys to alkaline balance in the Alkaline Way, the keys to understanding why the first morning urine pH might be less than 6.5, and what to do if the urine pH is indeed less than 6.5. And there are several important things to do. The first is to increase buffering foods. The second is to increase buffering minerals, such as potassium, found in many fresh fruits, magnesium, an important mineral to supplement, but a hard mineral to get in, and we'll talk about how to overcome the uptake block of minerals like magnesium. But minerals like zinc and manganese and molybdenum and selenium from foods that are rich in minerals, this would be seeds and sprouts and nuts and the like, and organ meats and so forth. Then we want to increase soluble antioxidants, the ascorbates, the polyphenols, the tocopherols, the carotenoids, coenzyme Q10, and minerals. Notice how many plurals. Not just vitamin C ascorbic acid, but potassium ascorbate, calcium ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate, zinc ascorbate. Polyphenols, the soluble OPC and quercetin dihydrate, sometimes with freeze-dried pomegranate juice as well. All 8 forms of vitamins E, the tocopherols, the multiple different carotenoids, not just beta-carotene. Coenzyme Q10, but micellized in rice bran oil, along with the vitamins E, the tocopherols, and the buffering minerals. All of these are soluble antioxidants and play together well. They form a team, they form a symphony, they form a garden. We want to avoid immune-reactive foods. We now have lymphocyte response assays that allow us to test for that. You can go to www.elisaact.com. That's ELISAACT.com for more information about how to measure fully the ex vivo, just as it happens in the body, immune-reactive foods. Also, our mental and physical activities contribute. When we're more joyful, when we enjoy the motion of our bodies and our minds, we produce less net acid. There's less restriction. When we're more joyful, physically and mentally, we produce less net acid, and that impacts the buffering status. And of course, healthy protein intake. We want to have enough, but not too much. The middle path is always recommended. 50 to 70 grams a day is enough protein. Many Americans are taking in far more than that, turning that protein into keto acids and net acid contributors to making the body more acidotic. So indeed, one of the reasons why metabolic acidosis is so common today is the excess protein intake, either from food choices, too much concentrated protein like meats and flesh, and or supplements, and too little of the high fiber, high mineral, high nutrient density fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, sprouts, herbs, and seasonings. If we are consistently elevated in first morning urine pH, if the first pH is consistently above 7.5, if we are in that potentially catabolic illness state where the body is tearing itself down, and this is reflected in a consistent first morning urine pH above 7.5, here we want to detox to reverse catabolic illness. We want to avoid toxins, alcohol, nicotine, mold. We want to avoid toxins. We want to avoid immune-reactive foods and chemicals. We want to stimulate repair with joyful mental and physical activity and essential nutrients. We want to stimulate healthy neurohormones using biofeedback and traditional acupuncture. We want to engage the stretching responses to move the fluids around in the body so that the body can get a sense that it has been in a auto-catabolic or auto-destructive mode, and it can shift back into a probolic or anabolic or repair mode. I did mention about magnesium, and we should talk for a moment about nature's calcium channel blocker. Magnesium is nature's counterbalance to calcium. Now, calcium is the mineral that activates muscle to contract. It enhances hormonal signals. It says, go, go, go to the cells of the body. In addition to a stimulus like calcium that says go, we want to have a stimulus that says enough, that says that says sufficient. Magnesium is nature's calcium channel blocker. It counterbalances calcium. It helps the muscle recover for the next contraction. So magnesium is a very important mineral in the cells of the body. The supermajority of body magnesium is in healthy cells. That does get depleted, and then the bones begin to feel the pull of their calcium and magnesium matrix being depleted on the way to osteopenia and osteoporosis. So ionized magnesium plus choline citrate overcomes magnesium uptake block. This is something we're fortunate to have a patent on. And these tiny gut droplets, these little micelles that form in the intestines, are taken up by neutral pores. Healthy first morning urine pH measures are 6.5 to 7.5. You also want to have enough buffering minerals to counterbalance whatever net acids are produced. And magnesium is one of the important minerals to do that. You want to have ionized magnesium and choline citrate, say 2 capsules of PERQUE Mag Plus Guard and a teaspoon of choline citrate in water, juice, or broth, taken together to overcome magnesium uptake block, but also to provide benefits from choline as a quaternary amine, choline becoming part of the cholinergic bile salts, as well as quaternary amines acetylcholine, a soothing neurotransmitter, as well as a communication molecule in its own right. Quaternary choline is a quaternary amine that is a communication molecule. Citrate is alkalinizing and energizing in the body, so this is consistent with the PERQUE all-active approach to formulation. PERQUE Mag Plus Guard and PERQUE choline citrate together to overcome magnesium uptake block and to enhance evoking the healing response. This is a study of 4 individuals. We see for weeks 1 through 4, weeks 1 through 4, they took magnesium only and there was no increase. Weeks 4 through 8, they took both Mag Plus Guard and choline citrate, and there was a substantial increase in the ionized magnesium. And then for weeks 8 through 12, they continued the magnesium, but not the choline citrate. One of the people maintained, and the other 3 started to lose their enhanced magnesium status. So we have evidence in this small clinical series of improving ionized magnesium in people who had a block to uptake, including the magnesium-only time the first 4 weeks, then the combination of Mag Plus Guard and choline citrate enhancing magnesium, and then the next 4 weeks showing the continued need for enhanced magnesium uptake. We want to enhance magnesium uptake. Mag Plus Guard and choline citrate are the products. There is a special for this webinar series. Buy 5, get 1 free. Buy 10, get 2 free. Call 1-800-525-7372 or email client services at perque.com to enhance body and mind clarity, to activate enzyme catalysts, to buffer excess metabolic acids. All this is provided by 2 capsules of PERQUE Mag Plus Guard that provide 110 milligrams of elemental magnesium in each capsule, 220 in the pair, and choline citrate, a teaspoon in water, juice, or broth. That must be diluted in water, juice, or broth, and taken at the same time as a chaser with the Mag Plus Guard. Better bones lead to better bodies. Better bones, the Alkaline Way, are what we recommend. Comprehensive 20 essential bone builders, all available in balanced form in PERQUE Bone Guard Forte 20. This is the further enhancement of our classic PERQUE Bone Guard formula. We recommend all of the bone enhancement formulas in physiologic, not pharmacologic amounts to provide 100% bioavailable and alkalinizing minerals as well as other cofactors. We also want to look at how healthy the kidney is, and the kidney's ability to concentrate, that measured by specific gravity, is the most sensitive measure of how the kidney is working. So the next point is that urine specific gravity is a functional assessment of kidney health. And here we see a diagram of the loop of Henle and the excretion of urea and other elements in the urine. It's taken from J.B. Henry's Clinical Diagnosis and Management of Laboratory Methods. Normal specific gravity after rest without drinking for 12 hours is greater than 1.020. so it should be between 1.020 and 1.030. The ability of the kidney to concentrate for that period of 12 hours without drinking and rest is the most sensitive measure of loss of kidney function. So if the kidney cannot concentrate the urine to greater than 1.020 after 12 hours of rest without drinking, then that is a sign that the kidney needs to be repaired, that it's under stress. That's the most sensitive index of the loss of kidney function is specific gravity. It's also the least expensive test, and it can be done at home by people who can bring the information to you for interpretation, and it can be done at home for pennies a day. We also want to remind you about the PERQUE Health Appraisal Questionnaire, the HAQ. The health questionnaire is validated with over 50,000 cases. It's a unique, smart system that interprets the results. People can fill out the questionnaire online or on paper, then it can be scored, covers all systems, it saves time, it personalizes and individualizes care at a time when many are looking for personalized and individualized care. Chronic fatigue can be reversed. In this case, a 56-year-old woman has been fighting fatigue for more than 10 years. She'd had various medications, herbs, and supplements with little benefit. The PERQUE Integrative Alkaline Way plan was applied with PERQUE, Mag Plus Guard, Choline Citrate, and Endura-Pack Guard, the recycled glutamine. The outcome was first morning urine pH has been maintained between 6.5 and 7.5. Patient says she's always been fighting fatigue. This is the only program that's ever given me a reprieve. I've never had more energy than now. That's the kind of results from using Physiology first, the Alkaline Way, and that is indeed what we recommend. Here's another case where anxiety was the presenting sign. It's a 59-year-old fellow with anxiety. He'd had amino acid therapy, Paxil, and trouble maintaining a balanced urine pH in the past. PERQUE Integrative Health Alkaline Way plan was applied with PERQUE Lifeguard, PERQUE Mag Plus Guard and Choline Citrate, and PERQUE Endura-Pack Guard. A combination of PERQUE Multi Lifeguard, the alkalinizing benefits of enhanced uptake, Mag Plus Guard and Choline Citrate, and recycled glutamine with Endura-Pack Guard. First morning urine pH was able to be maintained between 6.5 and 7.5, and after 18 months, the individual says that they continue the amino acid therapy and the PERQUE nutraceuticals. There's no Paxil. They've been able to taper off the pharmaceutical, no jittery episodes. First morning urine pH usually 6.5 to 7. Enhanced magnesium uptake. Here's a case about a 49-year-old woman with cramps, plus or minus either intramuscular injections or intravenous infusions of magnesium sulfate, a classic magnesium waster in Bert Altura or Mildred Selig's way. PERQUE Integrative Health Alkaline Way plan included PERQUE Lifeguard, PERQUE Mag Plus Guard, and Choline Citrate. The outcome were that the cramps were minimized in intensity and frequency. First morning urine pH maintained between 6.5 and 7.5 with a combination of diet and supplements, and the patient continues to do well. Well, let's look at the Alkaline Way. It has a number of components, and we can review these, and you can look at these online at your pleasure and leisure. First, we want to calibrate antioxidant need with a scorebate. We use PERQUE Potent C Guard to calibrate. We want to stay well hydrated. There is the wrist or palm skin pinch relaxation test. You pinch the skin behind the palm of the hand or at the wrist. You let it go, and it should go flat immediately before you can say 1,000. If it's not, if it goes slowly, drink a glass or two of water and repeat that in 15 minutes. You want to keep well hydrated throughout the day, and this is a test for hydration. You want to have enough magnesium, enough other minerals to keep the first morning urine pH in the healthier 6.5 to 7.5 pH range, often needing choline citrate along with PERQUE Mag Plus Guard, 2 capsules and a teaspoon, taken 1 to 4 or more times a day to replenish the magnesium in cells and in bones, in tissues and in body, so that the restoration of a healthy first morning urine pH 6.5 to 7.5 can occur. You want enough prebiotics and probiotics to continuously replenish intestinal health. A transit time test is recommended. 12 to 18 hours is healthy. It's the subject of another webinar, and we'll go into that in detail. You want to eat in harmony with your nature and your lifestyle. You want to have as much as possible locally grown, vine-ripened, organic, or biodynamically derived foods. You want to make restorative sleep a priority. You want to work your muscles and relax in some proportion. You want to do your best and appreciate that you are. And these are components of the alkaline way.